This is a preamble to the live answer time session that follows. And during that session, we were making a button a button on a box that would glow and turn on and off. And also during that session, I eventually made an action that would control those properties. And at some time after that, I was mystified that the action didn't work anymore and that these channels for intensity and glow had disappeared. I found out why that had happened. At some point before that, I had gone down here into the core and tried to clear these channels here by doing not set. And you can see a channel up here disappeared. Watch this one appear as I go down here and do not set on the glow parameter. Poof, it's gone. I don't know if that's a bug or a feature, but it did happen. The better thing for me to do would have been to clear those channels down in the core and then add the action afterwards, and then everything would be okay. I now return you to your regular program. Welcome to Live Answer Time for December 14th, 2024. Hi, Chuck. Let's see, I haven't spoken to you for several weeks. How have you been?
I've been doing okay. Actually, I was on here last week, wasn't I?
I don't,
Yeah,
I don't recall, because, no, I think it was just Roger here last week.
well, yeah, I didn't have much to say, but yeah, I was here.
Huh.
Yeah. Roger was working on something, wasn't he?
Well, my recollection is it was just me and Roger talking. And, well, I'll have to go and check the tape someday to find out what the true story of that is.
Yeah, well, it's been kind of chaotic over here too, and Roger's he's working on a number of things too.
No, I don't think I've. No, maybe I have talked to you since I went up to Illinois. So okay,
Yeah, I saw your video.
okay. So anyway, I was in Illinois briefly.
Briefly, that's the whole thing.
Yep.
You don't want to spend a lot of time up here, anyways. It sucks.
It was just it seemed just biting cold after
Yeah, and
after
it's gotten
leaving
worse.
Texas. Yeah.
Well, I want to say we're used to it, but that doesn't mean we like it.
I lived in Minnesota. I grew up in Minnesota, and I never liked it.
Oh, there you go. Yes.
My
That's
dad was the master of the unpleasant vacation day. Every other weekend, we'd have to go out skiing,
Oh,
and I was always cold and miserable. He loved skiing, and my mom would tolerate it, but I hated it. We'd go out to the ski place, and they'd leave me on the bunny hill, and then they'd go off and ski. And so I was basically on my own for the whole day, being cold and miserable.
yeah. We had our sledding days out here too, and yeah,
Ugh.
when you're a kid, I don't know, you can tolerate the cold a little more, but the hell with it.
I wasn't good at tolerating cold. And then over Christmas vacation, we'd go out west to spend multiple days skiing at one of those destination places for skiing, and I hated that too.
Oh, okay, yeah, I can understand that.
And when I was 10 or 11, I think it was when I was 11, we actually went to France to go skiing in the French Alps.
Oh,
We
God.
spent nearly 2 weeks skiing at Val d'Isere, which was, it was just this insanely steep set of mountains. There was no beginner hill at this place. Most of these runs had like the black X on them that tells you your insurance doesn't count anymore or something.
Okay, that's
That
different.
that was a group tour arranged through my father's company's travel club. If we'd been paying retail price, I'm sure we would never have gone, but this was cheap.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hang on a second. These damn phones are both ringing. I'll just make this quick. Hang on.
Okay, and you're back.
Yeah, well, I told my friends I'm busy between noon and one, and oh, I forgot.
Well,
Okay, what?
you know they're friends now because they still want to contact you.
Yeah, either that or they want something. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
They're
that
not
could
like.
be. Yep.
But yeah, did you have a topic yourself today for
Um,
cash?
there is a request from one of the members. Do you have something you want to go over?
Not offhand, but what I was gonna put out just to mention it. I don't have anything to show you, but I what I was doing is I was remember how we were saying how to rig with a proper skeleton.
Right.
Just
TSM2.
yeah, I'm just like why not just take a model that exists, remove all the control points, and paste my old model over it and attach.
Um, that would work if you have absolutely no rigging, so to speak, in terms of control bones and constraints that make it work. Um, yeah,
I know I should learn how to do this, but for the
I mean
time
the
being,
whole point of TSM2 is basically what you're talking about is TSM2. You're pasting in a skeleton. That's what the first thing does. It pastes in a skeleton, and then you size it to fit your new character, right?
hmm
And then you
right?
run TSM rigger, and all the constraints are made for you.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, we're gonna have to do that. Let me get set up on the new computer, and well, yeah,
So
definitely.
that's the core concept of TSM2 is you only have to place the bones in your character basically.
That is a hell of a shortcut. Yeah.
And yet that seems to baffle many people. I,
Well, you got that idea. It's the concept. Oh, it can't be that easy.
I think now you put the bones in your character, and with your method or with my TSM2 method, you still have to attach the CPs to the bones,
Right.
right? Okay, so that's still there. Um, that's the part that many people find baffling because it, it's the flexible parts like the shoulder where something isn't completely on one bone that takes a little bit of thinking about how am I going to do this. The knee where there's some part that isn't really on the thigh, it isn't really on the calf, it's kind of halfway in between, and doing that kind of baffles people sometimes.
Okay. Yeah, I understand that.
And then there are things like rigging the face, which can move in many different ways, and that's sort of an advanced topic. And TSM2 doesn't natively give you a set of bones to attach things to for your face. That's something that you sort of tend to roll your own.
Yeah, I just use the pole sliders for that.
Yeah, and that's a legitimate way of doing it. Um, but those are the things that sort of baffle people. And I've made lots of videos trying to explain it, and I'm not sure they're actually watching the videos. This thing, actually, have you watched the video I did where we put the skeleton in the mouse character?
Yes, yes, I
Okay,
did. That,
so there's TSM2. We basically it puts that blank skeleton into the mesh, and then you size the bones to fit the shape of the mouse, and then we run TSM rigger and well, before we ran TSM rigger, we did just the plain basic assign CPs command, and that would attach a CP to whatever the nearest bone is, and then we ran rigger, and for the most part, that worked.
nice, nice.
And then I think in the video, the next week, the video I showed how can we make this better by doing better CP weighting instead of just hard attaching every single CP.
Yeah, and that's something I gotta practice more is CP weighting. But yeah, believe me, you never. I was just telling somebody you never stop learning with this program. If you're not learning something new, you're figuring something out that's never been done before.
Right.
And that's the beauty of it. Keeps you occupied.
Let's see. This requested topic is something you might have some ideas on. So why don't we look at this? Let me get.
Someone just. Oh, that's you. Okay.
That's me. Let's see here. Oops, I grabbed the wrong thing.
Oh, so the girl playing Fox character, the voice, she got married or she got engaged to the evil professor voice.
Ah,
Well, they've been dating for 10 years. It's about time.
it's about time. Let's see, I have to find this. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Okay, you see that little thing on the screen there?
Yeah, the Star Trek thing. Yeah.
Yeah, he's asking if how could we make a flashy thing like this?
Hmm.
So let's sort of take that as a case study here. And this sounds like something that you might have actually done for your mad scientist, you know?
I did have some flashing lights, but not quite that many.
Okay. Well, okay. So that's our concept. That's what we're going to try and get. I think he's talking about just getting one of these going, and then you can multiply it and stuff.
Yeah,
But,
set different timers and all that. Yeah.
Let's make this a little bigger. So, okay, here's the things. It depends on how far you want to go with something like this, I guess. It would be simple to just turn a shape on and off by keyframing the ambience. There's also just sort of the way these things have some interior detail when they're on, and they still seem to have some kind of shape when they're off.
Yeah, they just look like marbles cut in half.
Yeah. So let me get out Animation Master here.
I think one of my first animations, I used a traffic light that was correct in, the sequence.
Huh. Let's see, is my screen still showing?
Yes.
Okay. So let me start a model. And it's just like a little dome light. So let's lathe that out. Let's see, I'm going to change my scale here. Let's go to modeling, display grid spacing. Let's make that a 1. And highlight every 5 lines. Okay. Because I figured those buttons are like maybe about 2 centimeters across.
Yeah, I guess that sounds good to me.
That's probably a little high. Let's skinny this down. Okay. Let's get that down to a normal number. Our lathe cross sections. Okay, so let's say that's our button. We could make, I think we could very quickly just make this a color and give it some specular. White, a small specular, a strong specular, and okay, so there's a button. We can get a better looking, a sharper.
Your
Yeah.
turn.
Hold on a second here. It's I can tell it's open enrollment season for Obamacare because I get a robocall about every 15 minutes reminding me to sign up, which I haven't done yet. Let's see. Okay, we were talking about the color of this thing. We can get a stronger, I want to get a more definite specular to that.
Do you have insurance, by the way, health insurance?
Yeah, Obamacare.
Okay, no,
That,
I got it too. Don't worry about that.
that's what I have. I'm low income enough that it's actually subsidized. And I don't have,
Exactly.
since I'm not employed, that's the only thing that there's going to be for me.
Right. I'm self-employed, so that kind of,
Yeah.
same thing.
Now, in 3 months, I turn 65, and I should be able to sign up for Medicare.
If they don't get rid of it by then.
Yeah, well, yeah, that would be. Well, anyway, but I don't think, no private insurer is going to take you once you're over 65, I don't think. Unless you're employed, unless it's something attached to your employment.
Right.
If you're one of those people who still has to work after 65.
Yeah, well, they're talking about increasing the retirement age to 70 now. So,
Ooh, ouch.
yeah, well, they don't want anyone enjoying any part of their life.
Well,
So,
they will. I'm sure they'll feather that in so it won't apply to you or me. But if you're like 30 or so, you're probably going to get hit by that.
oh, yeah, you probably won't get Social Security either.
Let's see. Back to this button. Let's see
Yeah,
if I.
not joyful talk.
Okay. So one way to make this specular intensity harder is just turn that specular intensity higher. But that's still kind of softish. Let's
Oh,
go
that
back.
works. Yeah.
Let's go back. We can also turn on a specular render shader here, and I'm going to turn on glossy. And now we've got a hard edge thing there. We can vary that. We can make it. There's a softer one, but usually you make this pretty tough. Let's make it 90. And that looks more like a piece of plastic.
Yeah, you know what? I haven't messed around with that long or enough. I should really start employing that more frequently.
And it still responds to the size and intensity up here, but it forces a harder edge once you have this on.
Okay.
Let's try. If I don't want that to be, now that's interesting. It's dim, but it's still hard. That would be tough to get with the default settings. It still has a hard edge, rather.
Okay.
Let's see, and boom, there we go. 75. I think it looks better being pretty much full on. I'll give it a 90. There we go. Anyway, so that's cheap computer plastic. Let's put this in a core. Let's make a little box to put it on. Let's import a pre-made model. Where's my program files? Hash incorporated, 19.5, data, models, primitives, and I just want a cube. And I'm going to embed it. And I'm going to do a save. Let's see. Boom. Boom. Okay. That's our default box. I'm going to spread this way out. Here's the top view. Oops. See, that's the Z direction. Okay, and this really doesn't need to be 5 miles wide. Okay, there's a nice little panel to drop it on. I'm going to put that in the core. Get the camera closer. And let's drop our let's get the camera a lot closer. Okay, what have we got so far? There's our button. Now, if we just wanted to turn that thing on and off, actually, I'm going to make this a less fluorescent red.
All right.
I'm still going to get the camera even closer. There we go. There we go. Let's see. Notice our something has happened to our spotlight, our specular reflection. To make this specular render shader, or any of these plugin shaders that you use here, to make those recognized when you render,
Right.
we have to, let's go to our rendering settings. I got this set, so I'm using the rendering settings from the camera. So I need to go and look at the camera. Output options, render options, plugin shaders on. If that's off, then they'll all be ignored.
Yeah, it's been a while since I had to use that.
There we go.
Perfect.
So, how fast should that flash? About every quarter second, maybe? Let's see.
Sure.
Bump, 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 bump. I'm going to go down to... Here's the quick and dirty way of doing it. I'm going to go down to this model and turn on Show More Than Drivers, and that exposes this material that is part of that model. And I'm going to drill down to this attribute, and now I could keyframe, let's see, ambience intensity. I'll put this to 0, and I really should have an ambient intensity defined in my regular material, so I'm going to make that the bright red color.
Okay.
Like that. Maybe make it a little orangish, like so.
Isn't there a cheap way of doing this and just hit glow on and off?
That would take this existing surface color and try to put it around there, and I don't think that would be very bright.
Yeah, I kind of agree with. Well, yeah.
Well, keep that in mind. We will try that.
Okay.
And we'll just see what happens, because that might have been faster. Okay.
But your method's going to be more detailed, no doubt.
I think, well, let's see. We do have a parameter for glow that I think we should be able to turn on and off, so that it's not like we can't keyframe that. Let's just see what happens. Right now I have the ambient intensity set to 0, so this ambient intense color won't show through anyway. Let's just try turning on. Let's set glow to on, and that will only render in a final render. So there we go. Oh, there you go. So that bumped that up. It's bumping up the specular highlight, which I'm not sure I'm crazy about, and it's also leaving the shadow here.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking
If our light, let's see, let's say our light was coming from the side. And that didn't change the direction of the light. That's because the real light is this one, maybe. Okay, see, there's there's the problem with glow. It sort of takes the visible surface color and tries to put a blur around it. So we have so we have a dark glow here.
So you see your choreography settings. You can, don't forget you can adjust your glow there too.
Okay, let's do that. Global glow intensity, glow radius. We could make it 30.
Yeah, I think the limit's 35, but not good enough.
Let's see, can I do a 50? Yeah, you can go pretty high on that.
Okay.
It's kind of getting away from our.
True, but
Glow.
we're just messing around with different settings. How about glow intensity 1200?
Okay.
That's going to be intense.
A limit of 1,000 on that.
Oh, all right.
There we go. That's getting into supernova. I think it's actually picking up on this little specular thing and blasting that out. Let's see if I turn the specular off in that material. If I turn that down to 0, and we render again. Oops. Well, it's still getting blasted out here. Some of the red is. The various components of the color are getting clipped off at 100%, so we're getting some white here. That's starting to look like a juji fruit.
That's what I was thinking. A radioactive one.
So, I think there are a lot of situations where that would work.
Yeah. It depends on what the final product, what you're looking for. But I want to see your method, though. I mean,
Okay.
You're really going into some extreme detail here.
Let's see. So we have an ambience color set. We have it set to 0. Let's go to. Let's set this to 100 and see what that looks like. Okay, now it's on. Probably, I think some glow, a little bit of glow added to this would be very effective. Let's look at this. I'm going to change the interpolation on this curve so that it's interpolation method hold. So it flicks on or off, but never transitioning in between. Although there might be a situation where kind of ramping up might look cool too. But so there's off, on, off, on, off, on. If I were doing it, that would be the quick and dirty way to do it in the quickest possible manner.
Okay.
So now the thing seems lit on the dark side even, and that's what I was going for. We didn't quite get that with glow, and yet we can still have in-room lighting that is coming from the side and stuff.
I gotta ask at this point: are you considering adding some transparency to it and then doing the oh God, what is it called? Where you're looking through a glass and the image is distorted?
Refraction.
Yes.
Yeah, that was something I'm thinking right now is how could we do that economically, but I think we can. So this is kind of like level 1 of our pursuit is trying to get this. And let's just talk about animating this. What I would do is I'd go out another 10 and reset this to 0. Go out another 10. Reset it to 100. Let's look at our curve. Oh, it's not. I want that curve to all by default. Let's see. I'm going to do something. I'm going to set this to default, and then I'm going to interpolation curve, interpolation method. I think this is where I have to do it. If I set this to hold, now they're holding their value until they hit a new keyframe.
Okay.
Let's add a little glow to that. Let's see. So we're starting We're starting off. So glow, and glow is either on or off. Let's turn this on.
Yeah, you can't time the glow in the choreography, can you?
Ooh, okay. Now we want to tone down our glow here, maybe something less than 1,000%. And maybe a glow. I'm going to, let's see, make this just kind of a constant value. Glow intensity, 100. Glow radius, let's see, 13, I think it was. Let's see what we got here. So that's off. There's on. That's probably a bit much. Let's try 50%. Ah, damn, I don't want to make a keyframe. There's off and on. There we go. That's getting... That would be good enough for a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. It's probably a little bit heavy on the glow. Let's another problem with glow is it's this glow radius is in pixels, so no matter how far away you get from it, it's about the same size. Although that might be kind of realistic for all I know. I haven't really thought about it, but let's turn that down just a little bit. I'll turn off my animate button. Let's try 35.
Should be more. Okay. Oh, that looks good.
And make the glow a little bit tighter. Let's try 9. Probably too small. I think I'll go back to make it 12. And maybe I'm now tempted to go back. I think doing it too much is always better, so I'm going to put this back to 50.
Yeah, well, that'll be affected if you do add transparency to it.
Yeah. So now that's a red button. Let's try putting another one of these in. Let's see if some other colors still work. Let's put in another flashy here. Try to get into the core. And once again, it's on the background. I'm going to pick that thing and copy its keyframe. And paste it onto the new one. Where's my new flashy thing? Oh, here it is. Okay. There it is. There's the second button. So I made it inherit the position of this, so I didn't have to go dragging it around. Let's look at this now. There's 2. And of course the second one doesn't have the keyframes on it, so it's going to be dim. Let's we could make another material. We could make another copy of that flash thing and drop a different color material on it. I'm going to try the in-core trick and just alter the color of the material here in the core. I remember once you were asking about keyframing color in the core. Was that you?
Yeah, that was quite a while ago. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do that again here. Let's try a blue button. And the ambience color will have to be something other than orange. Blue is kind of, it might be hard to make this look convincing. Here's our speculant. Let's see what we get here. Okay, that's blue. Now, if we turn on the ambience is by default 0, so I'll make a keyframe there. I'll go out to 10. Let's set that to 100. Oh, I had this thing on. There really should be a siren for that. Ambience intensity. Okay. There we go. So, oh, it's not. Oh,
The glow.
okay. Because I don't have this curve set to hold interpolation.
Mm.
So, do the same trick here. Curve, interpolation method, hold. And that did nothing. Let's see here.
You got the glow set on that one?
Right now I'm trying to get the ambient intensity
Ah, okay.
to, I don't want it to ramp up. I want it to stay at 0 until we get to this keyframe. Let's try this again. Interpolation method, I'll set this to default. And now, okay. Okay. This thing will override this one, I believe. This will set a style for the entire curve from beginning to end. But this will set the CPs you have selected. And so I didn't have those selected CPs set to go default, which will allow this one to happen. I always have to think through that. So let's see what we got. There's off, on, and I guess we need, we need to turn on the glow. On. Off. On. That's probably a little bright. But I can't control the glow intensity here in the object. I can only turn it on or off. So, how about if I made this ambience color a little darker, I think. Remind me that I've got my animate key turned off. And let's try, if I just,
Yeah, that's better.
better. So there we go. This one's still a little. I'm thinking the specular is a little bit too much on this material, so I'm going to turn that down to 75. And that did nothing. Specular intensity. Let's try 0 and see. Okay, that is doing something. Let's try 50. It just seems to me like the specular shouldn't be so bright when this thing is glowing, but
I understand that.
it doesn't really make sense logically. It should be just the same. Okay. So there's a way we could have different color buttons. We could make this, instead of having to keep setting these keyframes, we could make an action.
Here we go in the timeline. You just copy and paste the.
That's all. In fact, that's actually a better idea than doing this with an action. We could just go. I think if I make one more keyframe. That's going to be, that's the glow. No, that's my ambience intensity. Set that to 0. There we go. If this thing just had to flash continuously in the scene, I could select that curve and do post extrapolation method and do repeat. And now it will do that automatically forever.
Very useful method.
So this will be on, this should be off for this one. This one, I haven't applied this technique to this one yet, but I have done it. Oh, wait a second. I'm still. Oh, there's some glow on this thing. So I also need to do this. Ooh, I don't know if this works on on-off keyframes. If I select this, it's not a curve. It's just an on or off thing.
Well, that should work.
But there's no curve to apply it to is the problem. Well, now we're going to do what you said to do all along. I'm going to do let's see, to copy that keyframe, I want to copy, I guess I need the etc. Let's see if this works. I'll copy that. And now I'll go out to 20. If I paste, I get nothing. Did I get something there? No,
I didn't see it.
I made that one. How do I have an option of just sort of an invisible curve is maybe there? I'll put this on repeat. And let's just see. On, off. It doesn't seem to be responding here. Notice that even though there's no keyframes here, this number is still responding to the post-extrapolation.
Did you say something about remind me of getting a keyframe that's locked?
Say that again. Oh,
said
yeah. Remind me to turn this thing back on.
Okay.
I've done that. I'm starting to think we'll have to go back to an action to get this thing automated.
I'm surprised it doesn't work in a timeline. I could have swore I've done it a lot of times that way.
Post extrapolation. Let's just try. Okay. Maybe I need to set this to default. And now, was that stopping me? Let's see, does our on-off change? No. The ambience intensity percentage is changing as I drag along here. But the glow is not. So.
Just for shits and giggles.
Okay.
Open up your timeline.
You mean the curves?
Well, yeah. Yeah, and see what happens if you say you go up to 1 second.
Okay.
Now turn off your glow and see what happens. You should get yeah.
It made a keyframe here, but
I'm surprised it's not showing up in the timeline.
Yeah, well, there's no curve. It really doesn't have a curve to obey. They're just on or off keyframe. This is something I've never really thought about before.
No, I've been using this method for a while. I don't know why you're not seeing it though. You should see some control points on that line with the on and off option.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Those are the ones we're going to get. I think we got to be happy with those.
Agreed.
Are they? I can't scale it down. No, we've either got 0 or.
Try the scale button on the bottom.
Yeah. Nothing.
Damn.
Okay, I've learned something new today. You can't change the curve interpolation when you don't have a curve. So let's examine the idea of making an action for this, because we can put this in an action, because we can make keyframes like that. So I'll get rid of those. Okay. Make an action. I'll choose the flashy thing. So there it is. And once again, I'm going to choose Show More Than Drivers. That exposes the material and the attribute. And now we'll we want to keyframe our glow to be off to start. And what was the other one I was doing? Ambience intensity. That starts at 0. Okay. Then we go to 10. Set this to 100. Set this to on. Go to 20. Set this to 0. Set this to off. Go to 1. Set this to on. And I'll have to set this curve, I think, to be, let's see, select it. I set interpolation method to default, and then I set curve to interpolation method hold. There we go. So okay, so far so good. I guess I need one more cycle here. To turn it back to off.
You know, now that I'm thinking about this, remember when I forgot who was doing it, the spoof on Star Trek when Hash first came out?
Ooh, I don't remember that. I remember Mark Largent's things recently, but
well, then he did something called The Wobbling Dead.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
But,
well, the Star Trek one, he used this a lot on the bridge of the Enterprise.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, I just wish we had one of his choreographies to see what his method was too.
Oh, he could very well have an action. I think he probably had an action to just automate this. So here we have an action that does this, goes on, off, on. So that's 2 complete cycles.
Right.
Now, we'll try dropping that onto back to our core.
Well, your goal right now is just to have these 2 in sync, right?
Well, for me not to have to make keyframes in the core, basically, and I should be able to repeat this action as long as I want. So,
Yeah.
And yeah, they will be in sync or I could make them out of sync by sliding the actions.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking.
So, let's just check this. Let's see, why is that one on? I didn't get rid of the keyframes on the first one, did I? Let's see here. Yep, I didn't. Okay, let's get rid of those. Okay, both off. So if I drag this and drop this onto the first light, this should it gets me nothing. Let's see here. Why is that?
Did you delete the glow frames?
Let's see here. That's still behaving as if it has keyframes, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. This is weird.
Huh. And now it's cycling on and off. Oh, this one is behaving as if the action is motivating it. So this is okay. Why isn't this one? Did I not do the right attribute? I did ambience intensity. Except I didn't. Did I not actually make keyframes?
The glow ain't changing in that one either.
How curious. but I have keyframes. Let's go back to our action.
Maybe turn the glow on in the action.
This is the action.
Yeah, I know, but that's not changing. The glow is not changing. Now it did. Okay.
There it was.
Wasn't doing that before when you were sliding it. I don't know why.
Let's see. Why am I not able to? I'm pressing the plus key to try and advance my keyframes, and it's not going forward. Why is that? Action. 110. This is highly curious. Okay, when I drag through the action, these things are behaving as I would expect. We're going from 0 to 100 and from off to on. So far, so good. Now we'll go back to the core. And here is the action. Do I... boom, boom, boom. Nothing. Let's
Yeah, but
try.
Your glow is staying off now.
Huh. Let's try, before I go back to version 19 to test this, let's try dragging in one more instance of the model. And we'll put that over here. Well, that's why they weren't casting a shadow. They weren't actually on the box. So there's a red button that is off. That's number 3. I'll drag this action onto it. And let's step through this. Now, that one's working.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some kind of lingering keyframes that I haven't deleted.
It's possible, yeah. Oh, okay. Try in the model. I mean, in the choreography models,
Yeah.
where it says on and or glow on and off. Right click on it and change it to not set.
Ooh, yeah, I've got these things hard. But this, oh, okay, I know what's, this is happening later in the list. Here's the flashing action, here's the core action. This one is canceling out the one that comes before it. If I change the order, I think this is what will happen. If I change the order so that flashing light, well, there we go.
See?
Now it's on.
Yeah, nothing that can't be done with a couple of idiots like us on the
Yeah. Spend enough time on this and eventually we'll get this flashing button. Okay, so however, I think you were right about I should have set this to not set and set this to not set.
Yeah, you're just letting the action take over rather than
Right. I should have done that.
You know what? You got to figure these things out sometimes. It takes a while.
Okay, so that's if we drop this action on number 2. we should get the same. And this time I'm going to remember to set my things to not set. So. And now I have nothing happening again. Why is that?
You might have to drop in the choreography action a second time. I don't know.
Did I? I did drop it, or did I? No, I've got it here.
Huh.
Here it is on flashy number 2, and it was on flashy number 3. That one should be. Let's try. Come on. So. Now none of them are turning on. Huh. They should be on right now.
I'm thinking maybe remove the action and put it back in. This, I know it can be.
Okay. I'll go. Flashing light. Drop it onto number 2. So this is number 2 right here.
Okay.
And I'll step through this. Nothing.
What the hell?
The only thing that I can tell that's changed is I added this third light. But the third one was working a minute ago, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. You know, I did notice something. If I take, say, you know, where it says spotlight in your objects or files, and I take the same spotlight and I add it multiple times into the choreography, there will be major issues with it. So if you had 3 different models of these bulbs, I'm going to call them, they might act. There might be a conflict because you have 3 of them in there.
I'd have to see it
Okay.
in some sense other than I'm seeing it now. Now, those 3 lights you drag in your core, they're all going to be, by default, they're going to be taking their settings from the one that's in the model, in the objects folder.
Right.
But you can set them individually in the core, so they could have different brightnesses and other different parameters. That's the way it should work.
But yes, but I've noticed in the past, and I'd say 1 out of 20 choreographies that I do, there's a confliction, and you have to reset them all from scratch.
Huh. I should do a save here. Oops. Okay. Okay. So, I'll delete this number 3. Does that change anything?
Probably not.
Let's go.
And the reason I'm saying that is because once it's conflicted, it stays conflicted.
Let's try. Okay, I have it saved. I saved it just a second ago. Let's just try closing this and reloading it. Nothing.
Okay, my suggestion: remove all of those from the choreography, all the lights.
Okay. And drop them back in.
No. Well, drop 1, and it should work.
Okay.
You might have to take the model and create a second one and a third one, and just name them A, B, C, or whatever.
Yeah.
Essentially, that's what I had to do with that lighting. Just keep creating new Klieg's.
There's a light. Oops. I moved that thing. when I wasn't on 0. So copy. Yep. Come on. I want to copy. Copy that. Copy. I want to. Okay, there. It's pasted. Okay. Now, I should be able to drop an action on that.
Did you get a time notice yet?
We won't have a time notice as long as there's only 2 people in here.
Nice. Okay.
But I won't run on all day on this, however. I think we've just about exhausted our patience on this. Let's see. So, stepping through this, it's got the action on it. Nothing.
I'll be damned.
Um,
What about your
Why?
choreography settings on the glow? It didn't change, right?
let's see.
No, it's still there.
Glow intensity, glow radius. Those should be eternal. The action is the action still working? So everything's disappeared.
Oh, damn.
Let's see. So there are no keyframes in our action anymore, huh? And I'm in beta. I'm in a beta right now.
Oh boy.
19E. That's So this little question mark here means it doesn't know what to do with whatever it had there, and it doesn't have anything there. And did that happen after I did a save? Let me just try opening this project up in V19.0. There we go. And see if maybe the 19.5 is having trouble just reading the information in. Okay. Here's 19.0. I'll do project, open. Let's look at our action. Nope, that one's messed up too. Okay, so at some point, our action has lost its keyframes. That will require further investigation. For now, our basic tactic of keyframing in the core would be a minimal way of doing it.
Okay.
Tim, if you're watching this, he's probably tuned up by now.
I didn't even know he was here.
He wasn't here, but I'm recording this, and he'll be able to watch this later on. But it will have been kind of a fruitless experience. Well, I'll have to investigate this further and find out why those keyframes are disappearing. But that's, I'm trying to think what happened. When did those go away? I have this thing recorded. I could watch that, and I could probably find out when that happens. So.
Yeah, That's the beauty of it.
Huh. Okay. Well, good talking to you, Chuck.
Same here.
Thanks for your advice. That was helpful.
Thank you for the demonstration here. You know, it's always I always learn something. So.
Yeah. And have a good computer arrival this evening.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
I'll see you then. So long.
So long. Bye-bye.